Welcome to our /Prorevenge, where an angry father breaks both of a bully's legs with a wrench. Our next Reddit post is from David, a MAG. This happened in 1995. Breaking legs in a small rural town in Chaco province, Argentina. In a small town like this one, everyone knows each other. My father was an electrician, the only one in town, so he was constantly meeting people. He was born and raised here, so he was very well known by everyone. He grew up with many of the police officers from back then, and they even had asados together, which are like Argentinian barbecues, at least 3 times a month for years. My father was not a violent man. This story is the only time I saw him do something like this. The other man in this story, had a busy son, and they were not from this town. They had moved here a year or so prior, and they were from Buenos Aires. I don't really know the guy, only his kid, who was an absolute bully to almost every kid on the block. He constantly picked on me and my brothers since we were the youngest kids in our neighborhood, and therefore, we couldn't defend ourselves. Our dog Bucky wasn't trained since we knew nothing about training, but he was loyal and playful with every kid. One thing for sure, though, he was protective. One afternoon, we were playing in the park, and out came the bully kid, who at first threw rocks at us, then got closer and started calling us names. Since we were little, we got scared. He was bigger than us. We tried to leave, but he blocked our way and started hitting my brother. I tried to stop him, but he did the same to me. Bucky heard us crying, came running, jumped up, and bit the bully's arm. He bit hard, shook, and released, and then stood between us and the bully, barking like mad until the kid ran away. We saw the kid run to his house, and a few seconds later, the bully's father came out with a sledgehammer. Bucky stood in front of us, his hairs raised and barking, but the man didn't stop. He got close, raised the sledgehammer, and brought it straight down on Bucky's head. He didn't hit the dog once, he hit him 5 times. God, I don't want to read this next sentence. Oh God, I don't want to read that sentence either. Okay, just suffice to say, OP is describing the event in detail, and you don't want to hear it. I don't want to read it. So just use your imagination or don't. My brother and I were frozen in place, scared to death, crying a lot. This douchebag dad said something that I don't remember and left. We were unable to move for a moment, such was our fear. Finally, I grabbed my brother and went home. Dad was fixing a fan when we got back, and when he saw us, he asked what happened. We told him, and he just said, "Right, okay, let's wash your faces and grab some ice cream." Yeah, that's what our dad did. He took us for ice cream. He did a pretty good job of masking his emotions and showed himself as being cheerful to us. That night, when my brother was asleep and I was playing in the kitchen, my dad grabbed a wrench, told my mom he had to fix something in the neighborhood, and left. He came back sometime later, told me to go to bed, and that was that. A decade later, we came to know what happened. He went to the guy's house, knocked on the door, and punched the dude so hard it rocked his head back. He told the guy that he would break one of his limbs for each of his kids that he made cry. Then he proceeded to beat the guy with a wrench right in front of his family, and he broke both the guy's legs. My dad then left the guy's house, went home, asked me to go to bed, talked to mom, and went straight to the cops, turning himself in, and was actually detained until the police went and checked with the other guy. My dad also showed our dead dog to the cops, and the cops found the sledgehammer at the bully's house with the blood still on it, so they let my father go. The cops also spoke with the bully's dad when his legs got better and suggested that he leave town since he's not welcome now and he never would be. To get this, you have to understand the mindset of small rural towns. We looked at outsiders with mistrust back then, and it took a while for people to get used to you if you were new in town. However, people like this guy's family who came and went weren't liked very much, apparently, because like the kid, the father was also a butthole. I don't condone the actions of my father, nor am I justifying in any way the events that transpired afterwards. But as a father myself, I can totally understand the extent that a man can react when their kids are harmed. I loved my dad, and I have mad respect for him. Rest in peace, Dad. We'll miss you greatly. This dude is an Argentinian John Wick. John Wick? More like Juan Wick.